All right, let's get right into this explainer. If you were born in 1979, making you 46 or 47 this year, you are right in the middle of a massive structural shift for 2026. Look, this isn't just another typical 12-month block. We are talking about a profound fundamental transition from institutional compliance straight into sovereign infrastructure.
Here is our roadmap for the breakdown today. We are covering exactly how you execute this transition. We'll hit the corporate squeeze, the May audit, the sovereign harvest, that crucial August launch window, navigating the October trap, and we'll wrap up with your wealth mandate.
Just think about the incredible contrast we're dealing with right now. You've got this dark, fiery friction dominating the first half of the year, what we call the underground hardening, and that sits in complete opposition to the bright, golden, sovereign harvest of the second half. It perfectly captures your core strategic shift for the entire year.
And this timeline is basically your macro-astrological blueprint. It maps out exactly when these critical shifts hit. We're moving from that early year breakdown through the tactical adjustments of May, straight into this massive visibility in July and August, before we face a really vital recalibration in autumn. So let's break these phases down one by one.
Section 1, the corporate squeeze. And honestly, this probably felt like a systematic dismantling of your corporate identity.
We are officially and thankfully moving away from that underground hardening. That first half of the year completely defined by intense structural friction and this forced mandatory self-reliance. But the destination, where we are heading right now, is the sovereign harvest. This is all about high-ticket authority and actual asset ownership. The building phase is over. The harvesting phase has officially begun.
Look, if you felt severe burnout or just this intense corporate claustrophobia early in the year, you weren't crazy. It wasn't just in your head. It was quite literally astrologically engineered. Late January saw Neptune enter Aries, which instantly evaporated this 14-year Pisces era where you might have kind of deferred your dreams. Suddenly, passive visualization was forced into active initiation. And then, in February, Saturn entered Aries. That brought severe friction to institutional safety nets and completely exposed the sheer danger of trading your linear time for unstable corporate equity. It triggered this urgent, unignorable need for inner authority.
Section 2, the operational audit. Because how you responded to that early friction determined everything for this next phase.
The solopreneurs and executives who successfully built a bridge to the second half of the year, they didn't panic, they optimized. They were driven by the Taurus stellium in early May, which, by the way, is arguably the universe's most stubborn way of forcing you to check your math. They took 3 highly precise steps. They conducted deep forensic business audits, they ruthlessly cut operational leakage, and they consciously shifted their capital away from narrative-heavy, speculative hype right into real-world tangible utility.
Section 3, the sovereign harvest. With your foundation secured, let's see how this builds into your ultimate era of visibility and pricing power.
As Jupiter shifts into Leo in late June and into July, the entire macroeconomic vibe just flips. Imagine a golden goat stepping confidently into the spotlight. That is you. The era of quiet defense and building the engine in secret, it is completely over. It is time for bold, main character execution. Jupiter in Leo means the market is now actively rewarding individual premium positioning. You're no longer allowed to hide behind a corporate logo or some faceless institution. This is your green light. Time to launch those premium tiers, high-ticket masterminds, and proprietary advisory services. The world no longer wants to buy from the institution. They want to buy from you, the recognized expert.
Section 4, the August launch window. Because to monetize that authority, you're going to need a very precise vehicle.
To capitalize on this massive shift, you have to deploy what we call minimum viable assets, or MVAs. Think of these as your automated foundational tools. They are designed specifically to help you execute a corporate exit, get off those high-overhead rented platforms, and transition onto your own independent sovereign infrastructure.
I want you to circle August 12th on your calendars right now. The solar eclipse in Leo provides this incredible, fated disruption window. For the 1979 cohort, this is literally the ultimate asymmetric launchpad to execute those corporate exits or push your new frameworks live. If you've been planning to leave traditional employment, this is your exact window to take the jump.
Section 5, navigating the October trap. Because aggressive expansion always carries risk, and we have to prepare for the hazards coming this autumn.
I need you to ask yourself this honestly. Are your handshake deals secure?
Because any uncodified, informal agreements you have floating around are about to face an unprecedented level of pressure. So between early October and mid-November, Venus stations retrograde in Libra, and this directly intersects the natal Pluto in Libra placement that is entirely unique to your 1979 generation. It's an equity recalibration. It is going to expose the cosmic fine print in your partnerships. The mandate for you here is crystal clear. Do not sign major new long-term debt and absolutely refuse to dilute your equity during this window. Instead, you need to use this period surgically. Claw back your equity, formalize your explicit boundaries, and renegotiate those vendor contracts.
This boardroom-ready SWOT matrix perfectly synthesizes your entire strategic plan field. Let's look closely at your strengths. At 46 or 47, your reputational equity. That multi-decade network you've built, it's no longer just a list of names. It is a liquid asset class. You also have what we call the bridge advantage, which is pairing traditional business rigor with modern AI fluency. But listen, do not ignore the weaknesses and threats. You have to fight off that subconscious risk fatigue that tempts you to just settle for good enough in a traditional job. And you must carefully guard against getting swept up in that narrative-heavy speculative volatility hitting in late October. Which leads us to Section 6, the wealth mandate. Because all of this macro financial and astrological data points to one inescapable conclusion for your cohort this year, you absolutely must transition away from the energy depletion of linear labor. You've got to stop brute forcing your growth just by working more hours. It's time to transition out of a fee-for-service mindset and step fully into an asset ownership model. The second half economy of 2026 values your seasoned judgment far, far more than your time. So it is time to command your premium positioning.
And that brings us to this final, defining thought for your year. At 47, your wealth is a direct function of your system's leverage, not your physical labor. You have the blueprint. The stars have quite literally engineered this transition for you. So the only question left to ask yourself is, are you finally ready to stop trading your time for unstable equity and start harvesting your true sovereign authority?